morning. I hope you all are okay. We're trying something a little different and new, doing a virtual information session for the Certified Public Manager program. My name is Trent Clagg, and I'm coming to you from Knoxville, Tennessee, in our headquarters for the NAFI Center and for the Institute for Public Service. I just want to welcome you all to our information session. We're doing a little bit different. We're streaming on YouTube just to see if anybody wanted to watch that way, and we have some Zoom participants. So we are totally just trying to shoot at all different venues to answer any questions. But so glad that you took the time out of your day to join us. And as we start this fall season of a very different time in Tennessee and America, but we're just excited to come to you and talk to you a little bit about the great things that are going on in the Certified Public Manager program. And so I see I have Jeff Hunley joining me, and if I get a little too loud, Jeff, maybe you can help me out if I need to turn it down. But anyway, glad to be here. We Center have many different programs, but again, the Certified Public Manager program is one of the ones that that I run, and we run it all across the state. So I just got a little presentation I want to send your way, and then I'm open it up for question and answer. So a lot of people that we have talked to are asking what is the Certified Public Manager program, and so we have the program is a 12-month hybrid program, and it runs from the calendar year of January through December. We start in January, and we meet once a month, and so it's hybrid as well. We have an online program that it ties in together. So we meet once a month in 3 different cohorts across the state, and then there's an online component. So in that, saying we meet once a month, we have 12 class meetings, and so we meet together in each of the 3 regions of the state. So also it's project based. So one of the benefits of the program is we really tailor it to working adults. There are many different departments that join in the program, and we brag that this is made for you. I have a family myself. I have a wife and 3 daughters, a small farm. And I work the program, but I also have been through the program. And so we try to make it to where it's easy to manage with your full-time job, and you can go through the program and reap the benefits of it. But it is project-based, so there's not a lot of exams. What we do is we go through each class session. We have our online content, and then we go through each class session, and then we progress through the program, and we work on our capstone project. And at the end of the program, the project is presented, and and that is what folks work on throughout the year. Now we're proud to offer an online only component that we are proud to offer. As many of you know, with the pandemic that is going around, we have had to adapt to an online environment. And we've been offering CPM now online for the last few months, as we have respected our governor's state of emergency orders. And so we're excited about getting back into the in-person session. But through this, we decided to offer an online only option for those that are unable to come to the classroom sessions. And if you look on our website at leadership.tennessee/CPM, you will see our schedule of classes where we intend to meet in the 3 different regions. I'll talk about that in a second. But on the bottom end of that, there are some dates for our online option at the bottom page of that website. there's some options there of when we plan on meeting in the online portion of it. And so those will be like a Zoom type session. So there'll be a little bit of interaction so we can still continue the relationship building that we cherish so dear in the Certified Public Manager program. And we can talk about more of that in a minute. So what is the CPM program? So we talked about when it meets and kind of project-based, not a lot of extra readings outside of class, but we have a lot of vigorous discussion in class and our capstone project and our online content. But what else? We like to say that it is an in-depth program. We have several different topics that we dive into that we talk about, and I'm going to mention those here in a second. So we have several topics we dive into, but we also are very comprehensive. We cover a lot of topics. And so I appreciate the fact that we can really take some time and really have those invigorating discussions, but also we cover a wide variety. It's not just one niche. And so, which brings me into that we are competency based and we're nationally certified. So the Tennessee Certified Public Manager program is certified and is accredited through the national consortium based out of Boise, Idaho. That's actually, turns out, where I'm from, which is interesting. But the national consortium is made up of about 40 states across America, and the Tennessee program is right there with them. We recently, about 2 years ago, received accreditation, and we had a visit from a site visitor, as many accreditations go, and she came through our program, walked through our systems, and saw our facilities and different content and bragged that we were a model program. So we were so excited about that and with our national certification. But I wanted to mention, we're a competency-based program. And so we have 7 competencies that we really try to rotate and kind of center around the program. And that's personal and organizational integrity, managing work, leading people, developing self, systemic integration, public service focus, and change leadership. So those are the main themes that we try to center a lot of the curriculum around. And I could go through and detail all those out, but I think you can see those highlights, and a lot of those are just pretty self-explanatory. And I mentioned earlier, we do meet in 3 different cohorts across the state. And we started in Knoxville, and we saw the need in Nashville. So we went to Nashville, and we saw a great need in Jackson. So we are proud to say that we offer the program in all 3 cohorts. So we meet once a month in each cohort, and we try to network the classes together. And the same content that's in Knoxville travels to Nashville, and then it travels to Jackson. And you'll see when you look at the schedule that typically we start the Jackson cohort on like the 2nd Friday of the month. Nashville's like the 3rd Friday of the month, and Knoxville is the 4th Friday of the month. So our instructors will start out west and start migrating to the east. And they have a great discussions and talking about the different topics that we talk about. One of the things we also like to mention is that we provide all the course materials. All you need to do is just show up with a great attitude, ready to have a great discussion and talk about all things public service, public management. It doesn't always have to be public, but and private too, private management, all things leadership really is what we try to dive into. One of the things that some of our participants have really appreciated is our lunch that's provided. We have a great hot lunch. We cater in, and we feed you a great hot lunch. Sometimes it's a catch-22 because around 3 o'clock after that great hot lunch, you can get a little, possibly need a cup of coffee that we always provide too. So we got you covered on all ends. Now, a lot of people have asked, and we sent out an email to a lot of folks this last week, and a lot of the questions came back, how much does it cost? And so that's always a big factor, especially today. But we have a year's worth of training and this certification all bundled up with food and instruction provided and the certification for $3,500. And so what we're proud to offer is our split tuition program. And it's something that has been taken advantage of by several state agencies, local agencies, is that the beautiful part of CPM is being over the calendar year, we cover 2 fiscal years. And so participants are able to pay down the first half and take it out of that first fiscal year's budget. And then after July, we roll over into the second fiscal year. And so folks are able to kind of make that happen. But also, we have had several people, their agency could not pay, that pay themselves. We've had one individual that just made monthly payments. And so we're able to work with you. Just you can email me privately. We can talk through that. And we try to make it as easy as possible for folks to join in the program. One of the other interesting factors, we've had agencies where the agency will pay half and the participant will pay half. So there's buy-in for both sides to get that certification. And so we like to try to work with whoever we can to get them into the program. So who can benefit? We have participants from many different agencies. One is city government. We have a lot of folks from city. We have mayors, we have city clerks, treasurers, from both from counties and municipalities. We have both. We have had law enforcement. We have a great relationship with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation that we've had several go through. We have managers of all different types, even in city and private. We've had interest there, public service, just all things from anybody that would work in like zoning. We've had zoning folks go through, planning people go through. So all different forms of local and state government that have went through the program have enjoyed the benefits of the curriculum and the relationships. So I wanted to get into a little bit of what the topics we discuss. One of the big buzzwords today is emotional intelligence. And we find, as even it seems like lately, there's a lot of people on edge. And what's interesting in working in the public sector, especially if you're in a city hall or you're a county and you're receiving calls or different types of local government, is people are really fired up. And so one of the key elements we like to teach in that class is not letting others' emotions dictate your emotions. A lot of people are passionate about what they do and really charged, and sometimes that can excite somebody else. And so we like to really talk about what is it that gets us excited? What is it that we can keep under control? And having that emotional intelligence and thinking through that really helps in a lot of our jobs. We talk about process management. Now, we haven't talked much about our capstone project, but this is a great topic that we talk about, is how to make things better in our agencies. We have a faculty from our Center of Industrial Services that comes in, and he talks about the lean processing and how can we kind of look at our agencies, look at our offices. How are we running things? Are we making it as streamlined as possible? And just taking a minute to step back and say, how can I make this setup better? And so that class right there is a really fun, hands-on. We really there's some different things that we look at, how we can make your office run better, your agency run better, and that is really a catalyst for your capstone project. The capstone project, I'm going to deviate from my list here a little bit, but the capstone project is an opportunity for you to take a look at your agency, and with coordination with your supervisor, to just look and see what is something I can do to streamline a process, or how maybe a personnel issue, maybe a policy issue that I can look at, and I can do some research, and I can make it better. I can propose a possible alternative way of doing something to make it better. We've had all types of capstone projects that we've been able to look at and save a lot of money, a lot of time for people. We've had city administrators do things for like a customer service model and reducing response rates for maintenance facility type things for cities. One city manager proposed about a $50,000 change or savings, economic impact from the changes he did in a customer service model. One of our zoning fellow I mentioned earlier made a change about taking things that are all digital and analog paper and making it digital in like appeals meetings, being able to put reams of paper on a tablet and saving those printing costs. And I think they said they saved about $36,000. One of our other partners and friends of the NAFI Center was at the THDA, and as you know, THDA helps build housing developments across the state, and they have multiple inspectors from different departments of THDA that would go out and do inspections. And so Bill Lord kind of thought that through and said, why don't we kind of do some cross training with our inspections, and maybe send one inspector out that's cross trained for some of these other departments and save trips. And I think they ended up saving about $66,000 for THDA. Just thinking outside the box of different ways to change things. This process mapping is a great opportunity to think about, what can I do to just make things better in my agency? It might even help you at home too. We enjoy some of the things and the topics we talk about in that class, spaghetti mapping and how we walk around, how can we streamline things, and using some of the industry standards to help us through that. We talk about ethics. And as we know today, it's very important in the public management side to be very ethical. So we have a lawyer that is from our municipal technical advisory service, assistant service, and she comes in, it's Alicia Hodge, and she talks to us about ethics. And what I love about her in that class is, and you'll find that a lot of people, when they talk about CPM, they'll talk about that class and how it was very impactful to them. And at the beginning of the program, we talk about just being a great person and what we can do to make ourselves better. And it just starts this conversation of improvement. And what I love about her, I started to say, is that you can tell she lives what she speaks, and she's a great example of ethics and keeping things, everything ethical in our operations, and she comes from a great legal perspective, and just wonderful, wonderful person, a great class and a great discussion. We also talk about crisis response. One of our classes, we actually take you into like a active shooter situation, which God forbid that would ever happen to anybody, but unfortunately in this day and age, we sometimes have crises. Now, whether it's a fire, whether it's an active shooter, whether it's floods, sometimes we have to deal with these, and in public service, it's great to have a plan. And so we actually talk about different philosophies and having a good plan, and then we turn around and we put you in, and it's really more of a critical decision-making process with this active shooter, whether you would fire, and we actually put it's a safe weapon, but it's something with a laser, and it just teaches you, oh, well, I really got to think about through some of these decisions because it can be very critical. That's a great class. We just talk about a lot of leadership skills it's interweaved throughout the whole thing with that, with our competencies that we mentioned earlier. And then we offer an assessment, one of the very first classes from the California Psychological Inventory. It's 260 question assessment that we go through, and we talk about different leadership characteristics. And it just kind of starts us with some things that we can really kind of start thinking about ourselves, that at any level, we all can use improvement. And what's interesting about this assessment is sometimes when we look at things that we might be really strong in, that could be a weakness. And so sometimes maybe we're a little too dominant. We need to kind of cushion that a little bit. It's an interesting assessment that we take throughout the course. Another topic is conflict management. We have a 28-year veteran from the Knoxville Police Department as a captain, and he now works with us at the NAFI Center, but the champion of conflict management. And he comes in and he leads us through a great day of training of the best ways to deal with conflict. And what I also enjoy about the program is the fact that we have people from all different experience levels, all different education levels, and all different ages. And we can come together and we can start talking about conflict. And we know that we all deal with conflict in many different ways around us in our agencies. And so having some research-based philosophies and policies and procedures that help us to monitor and be able to come away with great ability to handle conflict. That's a great trait to have. What better to have somebody from the police department that trained those that basically deal with conflict on an everyday basis. So it's a great class, and Captain Jeff Stiles, he's our program manager now for the NAFI Center, great trainer. He's a great conflict guru, and so we love to have him come in. We also talk about some strategic planning, some different things you can kind of do to plan and thinking forward, beginning with the end in mind, and just some great. These are just a little bit of the topics that we discuss. One of the great parts of the Certified Public Manager program is the ability to network. And in my life, I have noticed that relationships are very critical. And that becomes some of the forefront of what we do is our relationships that we have. It's the opportunity to bring state leaders together, federal leaders, subject matter experts, plus other knowledgeable classmates, to bring all those types of personalities and knowledge base together to have some very invigorating discussions, but you get to meet these people. One of the great things about our faculty is as folks go through the program and you might have a little bit of an issue pop up in your office, our faculty are excellent about taking a call. And you might say, you know, you talked about in class 2 or 3 months ago about this. And you can call in and ask a question and maybe get some otherwise answer that you would have had to really dig and search for. So we that's why I put subject matter experts and that you can call them. But also you have the relationship with those experts, but you also have a relationship with these other state and local government leaders. And I chuckle in our classes last year in our Knoxville, we had a couple of city managers and a county mayor, and they would say, hey, and they would talk about their county or city name and refer to them by their city name. One of the ones was a city manager from Rocky Top, and they say, hey, Rocky Top, we're having this issue about XYZ. What are you guys doing about that? And they say, well, I don't know. What do you guys, or he'll answer and say, well, what are you guys doing about this? He wouldn't say, I don't know, but sometimes we do say, I don't know, and that's what we're trying to do research, but we bounce ideas off of each other. And so it's a great opportunity to come together and really experience some different topics and really just talk about it. And then once you've done that, you create these very invigorating relationships. And I kind of laugh at myself. I feel like Pollyanna sometimes that when we come together and we have there's such a great vibe in our classes that, you know, everybody's excited and we like to see each other. Sometimes it's like a homecoming when we come together, a reunion, but also just to have great friends that are going through some of the same issues that you're going to, and you can realize that you're not alone. And having those friendships and relationships are very critical. And we've enjoyed that in the Certified Public Manager program from all different agencies. And I also I put the rejuvenate the office. It's just I like to refer to the CPM class as an opportunity just to take one day a month, get away from your normal office environment and come in and meet some great people and talk about some things in a safe environment. A lot of times you're dealing with some very confidential issues, and sometimes it's great to have some of that advice. And so to get out of the office one day a month and come in and talk to others that are in the same boat you are in public service or private service, and talk about some issues. And it just, sometimes you can walk away and go, okay, I can do this. I can really do this. So it's just an opportunity to do that. So the network is just great. Some other benefits that we want to talk about is that we are approved for VA training. So if anybody is a veteran or they have opportunity to take advantage of their veterans educational benefits, we are ready to do that, process you through that so we can do that. And we've had some that'll pay 100%. Or maybe 60%. It just depends on your years of service and the type of chapter you would like to file, but we're certified with the veterans group to do that. One of the other things we are so excited about and we're so grateful for is our relationship with UT Martin. We have a great relationship with their undergraduate program. And right now, if you join the Certified Public Manager program, you're eligible for undergraduate credit through UT Martin. And UT Martin is looking at graduate programs, and we are also in conversation with UTK and UTC. So in Knoxville and Chattanooga, both of those agencies, we are hoping to make an announcement in the next few months of our collaboration for graduate credit. They've they're looking and evaluating the program in their faculty senate. And if any of you all have been around higher ed, there's a faculty senate, then there's break-off groups. They really look at it, how they can fit things in their catalog. And so we've gotten very serious interest from both institutions. Of course, we're with the larger UT system is what the NAEFI Center is with. And so we have a relationship with both schools. So we're so excited about the opportunities to come together with that. Now, I put on this presentation also that there's also a potential salary increase. We have a relationship with DOHR, and through some certain guidelines, they're offering a salary increase with those that get a certification. Now at UT, and every agency is different, but at UT, if we go through and get a certification and we've never done that and it applies to our job, then we're possibly eligible for a salary increase. So we just want to remind people about that. If you're a state employee, that might be an option that you can look at and get that increase upon the certification. And with, I think the state indicates if you have been through another leadership program like Lead Tennessee or TGMI, TGEI, and for you local government, you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but the TGEI is Tennessee Government Executive Institute, and then the Tennessee Government Management Institute, which both the NAEFI Center services both of those, and Jeff Hunley that's online with me, it helps greatly in those programs, but we offer those, and then I believe they like for you to have supervised some people as far as the state. But there's other agencies in the state that have an agreement that if you get the CPM, that you're eligible for a salary increase. And a lot of this depends on budgeting. And right now, with the state of the government, and I think the economy is kind of coming back on and things are kind of ramping back up. But as more money is available, you have that certification, you can get that increase as they have that available. And I just encourage everyone to talk to your HR department and just really talk about the benefits of that, and we can kind of help discuss some of those things. So that's just another opportunity for that we want to bring to your attention. Here's a little video that we created to show you some more about CPM. We just wanted to share a little bit about the CPM program and those of you that might be interested. And so we've asked several people to share maybe some questions they might have. And I've also asked a few of our alum to join us about and talk about their experiences with the CPM and just talk to you about maybe some things that they could share from their perspective. So I had several people ask about the split fee, so I think we addressed that with the split tuition. And we had people ask about, is it applicable for things that I do in my agency? And I would like to say we've had several people come in and and I would say the relationships and the network building. It's priceless. The people that we get to talk to and share ideas with in the program, and it's just priceless to be able to get with those agencies and network. And it's turned to be beneficial for several different agencies. Mike, if you don't mind to go ahead and talk for a little bit. This is Mike from over in Rocky Top. I referred to him a little bit earlier, but Mike Foster is a great friend of the NAFI Center and a recent graduate of the Certified Public Manager program. And so I hollered at him. We had a few questions about city managers. And so he's a city manager over there. And so, Mike, you wanted to share some of your perspectives and maybe why people that may be seeking a position as a city manager would benefit from some of the themes in the Certified Public Manager program?
Absolutely. When Trent called me, asked me to be a part of this, I always, if I'm available, I'm going to jump on it just because I think the CPM program is such a great program, and the guys at the NAFI Center and ladies and that are absolutely great people, and they're just absolutely wonderful leaders, and they do a great job of training. And just in my role as city manager, I'm always looking to improve my career, trying to be a better leader, try to be a better manager, and use the resources. We're a small community, so our resources are very tight. And so, one of the things that Trent talked about as he was speaking, the connections and the benefit of just networking is real beneficial, especially in the role of city manager, because as he used the example, like there's things that I don't know everything. I know that's, to the guys at the NAFI Center, that's shocking that I don't know everything. But it allows me to pick up a phone and say, hey, what are you doing in your city? What are you doing in your county? How are this work? We talked about funding, and I know we talked about the project and doing the capstone project. I mean, we really were able to, bounce stuff off each other when we were working on our capstone project. But, if you're looking to be a city manager, or if you're in city management, it absolutely is something that will benefit your career. Just because with city manager, you have different roles that you have to wear different hats every day. And so having those expertise and having that, when we go over classes and you're looking at your strengths of your employees, and you look at things like processes and like, okay, well, this process I've been doing here, but if I apply this would actually help streamline things, and it allows people that, the previous, when I first called, because I said, hey, do city managers go through this program? And I went through the cohort 2. He said, actually, we had somebody from the cohort 1, the first year they did it was a city manager. And so it made me say, okay. So I reached out to them and what their capstone project and how it saved their city money. And so it's one of those things that the cost, be able to split it. And that was one of the things I did. I split it over 2 budget years to help, because we have a small budget. So that was a big help to us. But just the information, the networking, the friendships that you build, but it easily allows you to pick up the phone and reach out to people and say, hey, this is something worthwhile. And it's something that allows, you challenge yourself as a leader, but you also challenge yourself as a manager that can learn those skills. And I'm friends with the people still in my class and the trainers, and we call each other. And I was just on a forum with them last week working on something. And so be able to be a part of that has really been beneficial to my career.
Thank you so much, Mike. And you can see as a former participant, just some of the themes and the things that we're able to talk about has just been helpful in the relationships. And that's one of the things I keep hearing is just the relationships, and we have great content and great things to refer to and great notes, but just those relationships. And so thank you, Mike, for talking that from the city manager's perspective. And he is one of others that we've had, and appreciate him taking his time out to talk to you today. I've also got online Jeff Hunley, and I have Bill Lord online. And Bill Lord works with the THDA, and Jeff works with here at the NAFI Center. And I didn't know if, Bill, you would want to take a minute to share just some thoughts that you've had from the Certified Public Manager program.
All right, Trent, I hope that you guys can hear me. I'm connected with the phone and the computer.
Yeah, we got you great.
Great, wonderful. Unfortunately, our system doesn't play well with Zoom always. So I will tell you that CPM was just one of the great experiences of my life. I don't want to give away my age here, but I've been through one or two programs like this across my career since it's expanded several decades. And I will tell you, this is by far one of the better of all the training programs that I've been in, and for a lot of the reasons. One that you've already mentioned. One, of course, is the fact that the curriculum is strong. We had a lot of opportunity, great topics, excellent instructors, and the fact that it's interactive. It's not just somebody standing and you're not just taking notes and then going and compiling notes and taking a test at some point in time. It's an interactive process where you have opportunity to be involved in the discussion, talk with the instructors and the trainers that come in. You get a lot of perspective from them. As Mike said, it's an excellent opportunity because you do develop a personal relationship even with those trainers, and that relationship carries forward on into your career. As you need resources, they're an excellent resource to call and talk about things if you have questions or problems. The other participants in the class are to me, one of the great resources and real gems of the program is that you develop relationships that will go forward on into your continued career. I happen to work for the state with the Tennessee Housing Development Agency. As Trent mentioned earlier, we're responsible for assisting people with developing affordable housing across the state and providing mortgages to people across the state of Tennessee. So THD is a large agency. It's quasi-government. Although we are considered a state agency, we are also not quite a state agency. So it works. It's an interesting dynamic. In that, though, it takes a lot of resources to figure out how to provide the best services. So CPM gave me the opportunity to meet some of the people actually that I had already worked with and maybe had an email with or phone call with or someone in their agency, and develop these strong bonds where now I actually have those personal contacts. They call me, I call them fairly regularly. And that's not just in the state. I work with a lot of as Trent said, there are city managers, local managers, people from law enforcement, people from other that I've talked with regularly since we left the CPM class, and we continue to communicate about that. I happen to manage some federal grants that are available to local governments. So through these relationships that we developed here, several of the local governments that had their city managers or other leadership in our class, we developed a relationship, and they learned about what we had, and were able to actually this year reach out and apply for those grants and obtain some pretty substantial grants across the state. And I think that will continue. So that resource is just goes on and on, continues to pay you back. As Trent mentioned, the capstone project's extremely important. It's a great body of work because it does keep you. It engages you to find something that needs to be solved. And though you may have thought about it, and in our regular careers we go through and we know about these things and we may work on them a little, but we're not. It's hard to find that motivation to go from start to finish and get that thing fixed. So in our case, we were able to do that, and with this consolidation of our inspection programs, and we're still working through that, but it's implemented and running and is working extremely well. And one of the great benefits that happened, if you're talking about somewhat paying it forward, so we started that over a year ago. Just before I was able to complete and graduate from CPM, we actually implemented that consolidation and began that process. And in doing that, one of the things it prepared us for is when this situation happened with COVID and we suddenly found ourselves unable to travel, one of the big questions was how do our programs go forward? Because these on-site inspections are required by the federal government. They're not something we can waive or something we can figure out just a workaround for. So what we actually did was, having consolidated this process enabled this, we right off the bat, early in March, developed a virtual video inspection protocol. And we were able to implement that in less than 2 weeks from the time we first discussed it till we put that in practice. And we've been using that we've not had any delays whatsoever related to any of our construction projects because inspections couldn't get done. As a matter of fact, if anything, it's sped up the process. We no longer have to travel there. We're able to do that by the delivery of materials back and forth online and a virtual on-site inspection where we're literally there, virtually there, though we're not. And we get to see everything that we would need to see through that process. That was one of the great results of having gone through that capstone project and being prepared to do that. Had we not done that, had I not gone through that project, we probably wouldn't have been prepared to do that and would not have been able to implement that. And the cost to THDA of not being able to implement this virtual process and to our grantees would have been is really immeasurable at this point. I don't know what it would have ended up costing us, but as it is, we were able to go forward. And it's so successful that we will probably even continue it after this is over to offer that. And that's going to further, Trent, might be interesting to you, that's going to further reduce our travel expenses. And so that initial estimate of $68,000 or so that we put into that project, saying that's what we thought it would save us per year, is actually probably going to end up being double that or more, because we're no longer going to travel for routine inspections. We'll do them virtually like we're doing them now, and we'll only go out when we have some extraordinary circumstance. So CPM is just a great program. I can't even tell you how much you will actually get out of it, but the relationships with other people, the expanding your thought process, the access to different ideas and ways of thinking from the trainers and other individuals in the class. I learned as much from my co-participants as I did from the instructors, and that's not slighting the instructors at all. It was just we're in a room full of public administration knowledge at every different level of public administration in the state. It's invaluable. So I would greatly encourage you, if you're considering doing it, by all means do that. I will mention also that, of course, I went through, and we have one of my peers at THDA going through right now in this current year's class, which just goes to say that my agency saw value in this. They paid for it 100% for mine and his, and I will tell you that I not to rub it in the local folks' face, but I did enjoy that pay increase. Was able to obtain that as a result of CPM, and if you're a state employee, you will certainly qualify for that. DOHR does access that, use that, and then so do the agencies like THDA, which are quasi-state agencies as well. So I'd encourage you to hop in if you haven't already made that decision.
Thank you so much, Bill, and thank you for sharing. It seems like your research will continue to go on, and I appreciate your devotion. Bill's been a great friend of the NAFI Center, and I believe he's being truthful and honest with you when he says that he truly enjoyed it, and we have enjoyed him and getting to know him, and just the return of investment, like he indicated, the capstone project, just kind of taking something that you can really dive into. And many times we see issues. We all are very, very bright people, especially you have to be and working for state and local government. You got to see some things. But a lot of times we get so busy with our day-to-day projects, it's hard to just kind of step back and fix a potentially large issue. And so the opportunity to take the year with cooperation of your supervisor and say, hey, we're going to work on this issue, and I want to propose some things to make it better. And you can see from Bill's words and his experience that it has been a great change for THDA and kind of a launch pad. We have great people over there, but it was a great launch pad for them to go. I want to ask Jeff to mention a few words of his experience and just kind of share a few thoughts with you.
Okay. First of all, I want to say hello to Bill and Mike Foster and Felicia and several of those that are on the call today. Thank you for joining in. Jennifer Berry actually posted a question in the chat that I wanted to maybe just say a few words about. She said, for state agencies, how would you say that this program offers different from state leadership programs like LEAD, TGEI, and MI? Really, Jennifer, what I would say is that capstone project is something, with TGEI and MI, I feel like CPM is just a great tool to add to those. Because that capstone project allows you to do something that you really can't do through an EI or MI. experience, you do get a lot of training, and you do get the competencies that are laid out in both of those programs. But because the CPM classes are smaller, you're allowed that more individual attention with the instructors. But that capstone project allowing you to take something in your agency and actually apply it to a true economic impact is probably one of the greatest experiences. And then the other thing I would say is that CPM is a nationally accredited program, so it extends beyond the borders of Tennessee as well. I think the diversity inside each group, Bill kind of hit on it there, just meeting people outside of the state and how it's helped him do his job. And so I think that's something that you would get in CPM that you don't necessarily get in EI or MI experience. So I think probably I would say that CPM complements those very well. It is part of my job to work with both those programs here, and they're wonderful programs. I feel like CPM is just kind of another tool in your leadership arsenal that you have as far as like personal development. The other thing that I will say is with the capstone project is that it really gets you an opportunity to study your agency or your city, your department that you're working for. Mine was very different than, it wasn't those huge impacts, but mine was around an $8,000 economic impact for something that we're doing here in our agency. And it really was something to do with reward points and how we use those when we reserve rooms for some of our programs. So you can really apply it to a wide range of things inside of your agency or where you work as well. And I guess probably, Trent, that's probably about all I did. I will say this as well. I started a new job, which was at UT, started CPM the same month. 4 months later, started a master's program and still graduated, did my capstone project, all those things. So if I can do it, I know that it's definitely doable. So just looking forward to having other people join. The other one thing that we haven't mentioned is that the University of Tennessee is the only agency in Tennessee that has the ability to offer this. So you do join an elite group of people that only have the CPM through the University of Tennessee. So it does have that backing as well.
Thank you, Jeff, for sharing your perspective. And he was a great addition to the program and offered some great insight. And Jeff has prior experience with the state, and using some of his experience and references in class was highly beneficial to the class. And that's one of the other things that, as an instructor, and to be honest, I'm an instructor in EI and in MI, and I lead the Certified Public Manager, so I kind of have a perspective of both. And those are great programs, and we run those MI and EI programs, TGMI, TGEI. But we also run the CPM, and we keep everything different. There's no repeats to the best of our ability. Some of the themes are similar, and a few of the minor themes in the campus in the class, but we do keep those separate, and it's an opportunity to come in. So we see, and so we may be a little biased, but we are very proud of the CPM program, and that capstone project is to be able to dive in. I think 2 years ago, our economic impact was about 3.6 million. Last year, our economic impact was 9.7 million. So as people start getting the vision of what can we do to make things better, people are finding loopholes in their agency where maybe money is not accounted for. Not that it was abused or anything, but sometimes finding little things that weren't accounted for and finding thousands of millions of dollars to just improving a process that otherwise would have been, it just saved money in improving that process. One of the other things, a big question I always get is, now what are the logistics of the class? So again, and I think there was a question on the chat too about the website. It's at, I don't know if you want to put www.leadership.tennessee/CPM is our website. That's leadership.tennessee/CPM is our website. And on that, I have our program manual. It's got our online class content. It talks about our class theme, so you can peruse through that. There's also a link in there to register and maybe give me your email and we can just have a private chat. I love to talk to our participants. One of the things as you all go through your jobs and you may get like, times get heavy. All I got to do is pick up a phone and talk to one of you all. And I remember, okay, these are some great people, and it just invigorates me to hear from you. So if you have any questions, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about some things, and it really gives me a boost just to talk to some great people. But we're in the program. We get to hang out and have some great times together. But the program is laid out, like I said, once a month. So say you're in the Knoxville area. We typically meet that fourth Friday of the month, and you would come our classes are about 8 to 5. We don't usually last till 5 o'clock. Depends on what we're doing, but we'll start at that 8 o'clock session, and it's on that Friday. So it will cost a day of being in the office or however you do that, but we'll come in and we'll have a morning session. We'll break for about an hour and a half, have a great hot lunch, have some great fellowship around that, some great conversations, just casually. And there's some great network building in that food time. And then we take frequent breaks. We like to break about every 50 minutes, give you some time to stretch your legs. We throw some Cokes at you and throw some coffee at you. Well, not really, but we have those available and to help you to stay hydrated. I'm getting into the nitty gritty here, but so then we'll eat lunch. After lunch, we'll have another session for 3 or so hours, and sometimes we'll be out by 3:30 or 4:30, somewhere in there. We do try to keep our hours up because it is a certification, and we have certain hours that we like to keep up. And so do that about 12 times. We do have a joint class we'll do around the fall that will bring all 3 cohorts together and have that networking time. Thank you, Jeff, for posting that. That'll be helpful. And then we like to bring everybody together and do our capstone presentations. And those are so great just to hear all the other projects and the great things people are doing. And to be honest, the last December session, we actually do a peer review where by then everybody knows each other. We're laughing at each other. We know all of our nuances that we have, the little different things that about us that are unique. We know those. And what we like to do is have everybody give a little 5-minute review of their capstone, kind of what they're going to do before they do their formal presentation. And so I've found, and maybe Jeff or Bill, you all may speak to this, but I found that session seems so helpful to folks. We went through all this content, all this curriculum, then everybody takes a draft of their presentation. We kind of throw the ideas out there to the class, and then we have some great feedback because they're in the same boat too, and they enjoy. But sometimes, your spouse can help you out greatly, but sometimes having a classmate is very beneficial too. Do you all have any comments with that, Bill or Mike or Jeff?
I was going to leave you hanging for a minute, and I decided not to. No, I love being able to run through our presentations, to do a peer review of those before we actually did them. It really helped. It actually helped, just for others to hear what I was going to be talking about the next day. But also I noticed a lot of people saying, well, have you thought about this or have you thought about that? And giving some great input that I made changes even the day before because of that opportunity to be able to run through the presentation with my fellow participants.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Trent. I just would say that not only was that peer experience just very valuable in getting that presentation ready, but I don't discount that opportunity to have some input from an alumni, to have a mentor to work with you from a previous class. And I know that all of the folks from previous classes are more than happy and willing to work with folks in new classes, because as you said, it's really a kind of a private club, and it's pretty small right now. And so it's an opportunity. You do get to know people across all the classes in CPM and work with them. And of course, that great opportunity, I had help with mine from folks from previous years, and now as I'm alumni, I've got a couple of folks reaching out to me for some just input for theirs. So, which I'm happy to provide. And so that's another part of it that's that makes it a little easier to get through that process.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Bill. We do have a form of cross networking, and we like to call it like a form of mentoring, where we try to get the current participants to reach back to the previous years or our alumni, and just kind of bounce some ideas, to tell them about their capstone, and having that interaction. I've had a lot of feedback already from our alum that they have thoroughly enjoyed talking to each other with the current class and the previous class. That's a way to bring these the years together. And so I appreciate that, Bill. It's been very, very beneficial.
Hey, Trent, one thing that I'd forgotten to mention before is Bill was talking about just being able to, with the state and possible raises or whatever. But, privately, I know we counted at least 10 people who have been through CPM from first year up until now, who after finishing the program either were promoted to other positions within their city or their agency just after that. And I believe that that's because of the input of this program of just being able to work on your own professional development, because we've had a lot of alum that have actually been able to transfer to other jobs or get other jobs that have done very well.
Several promotions people have had from the program. I need to capture some more of that data just to show folks that are interested that just because of the relationships and integrating with some things, people are finding these opportunities for promotions and for different jobs that are in more what they want to do. If you're looking at improving yourself in the public side, if you want to run for office or educate yourself about city government, local government, this is a great program to take, and it'll introduce you to people that are in office and maybe give you some pointers of how you could improve yourself. So it's a great opportunity. And I think I've kind of ran through all the logistics of the program, meeting 12 months. There's an online component. We do have 100 hours. One of the benefits that we are having right now, I had several people already sign up for 2021, and you're able to go ahead and take advantage of jumping in on your online coursework before the January start of class. So that's a great opportunity. And if you want to do that, reach out to me. I'll give you my email address here in a second. And then somebody was asking a question about the online content and COVID-19. So if there are some of those that are, we are going to have in-person sessions next year. We're looking to getting that. We did kind of halt in respect to the governor's state of emergency right now. So these last several sessions have been over Zoom, kind of like we are now, but we are looking to get back into in-person. However, we are offering an online only session next year, and it will be like a Zoom type platform over the fourth Friday of the month, and in sync with the Knoxville session. You'll find that out. And so if you want to do that to avoid contact with folks, that's a great opportunity to jump in a conversation and enjoy the program. So we are doing that. Now, if something happens with our main program, we do have the opportunity to be flexible and bounce back and forth via Zoom. We do like to have that in-person contact with the relationships in person, but we respect our government and what our governor has put in place. So that is that. I was trying to refer back to the chat. I have my laptop over here. So we have the website. The dates are on the website. My email address is trent.clag@Tennessee, all spelled out, .edu. So that's TRENT.CLAGG @Tennessee, all spelled out, .edu. So please email me, call me, and thank you, Jeff. Jeff's a great help here, but thank you all for taking your time just to hear a little bit. I know I've already rambled on for an hour, but there's some great things. We're so excited about the program, excited about the relationships, excited about making things better for Tennesseans, and just the great work you can do and the opportunity you can just meet others, but yet make these proposals and make things better. So please reach out to us. I think we've streamed this on YouTube. If there's any other question you want to go back and refer to or share it with somebody else, it's probably on our Facebook as well. We do frequently post on Facebook and use different methods to get the word out, but we're very excited about the program and love to have you in it. And so just let us know if we can help in any way, answer any questions. So thank you for your time, and I can open it up for any more questions. If anybody else wants to chat or open up your mic, I'd love to answer any other questions. I'm not in a rush, but I want to respect your time. I don't see any more in the chat. I want to thank Jeff and Mike and Bill for joining us today. I want to thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon and the start to a great fall. Thank you so much.